Hey YouTube, this is Nashtaters. Welcome back to another episode of War of the Visions. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Should You Save or Should You Summon? I actually wanted to avoid this topic for a while, but then they gave us this huge banner which has 4 units on it, and I thought it was a great time to actually talk about these units because some of these units could be very helpful for some players out there. So I think it's important to actually do this video because many people are probably confused or sort of hesitating whether or not they should be summoning on this specific banner. And I'll also give you my analysis if they should be giving us 2 separate banners because obviously there's going to be 4 units. So we'll see what happens there. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. So here we are, new units released on Wednesday morning. We have Howlet, Skahal, Mariya, and Skahal. Let's begin talking about Skahal. He is a main job black mage, ultra rare, and of lightning element. So the first thing I want to say is there already currently exists a lightning mage that perhaps is of UR quality, but is actually an MR quality, and that is Celir. Celir is one of those units that at first I thought it was going to be one of those, oh yeah, she's not going to be that great, you know, whatever. Turns out she's actually one of the better units in the entire game. So I went ahead and summoned for her, believe it or not. And even though she was MR quality, I went ahead and tried to get her. And at the same time, the UR quality unit at that time was good enough that it was warranting for me to go ahead and go after those units. But in this case, let's break it down how perhaps they could do this. They could do this one of 2 ways. They could do Skahal, Howlet, all 4 of them on one banner, which ultimately would kind of suck, right, for us, because a lot of players maybe only want one out of these 2 ultra rare units. Some players may want both, but regardless, I personally hope and wish they separate these 2 groups into 2 separate banners. I'm thinking Skahal and Mariya on one, and Howlett and Skahal on the other. To me, that makes the most sense. But then again, every time I predicted something, it's always kind of not gone the way I wanted. So my guess is they're going to give us all 4 units on one banner. So let's go ahead and stick with that prediction. So if that is the case, I think it's going to be a very hard choice for many players. Now the Krakens and the Poseidons and the heavy spenders, most likely a lot of them have their mind set up. But here's how it's going to break down. Most of them that I've spoken to, at least the ones that I've spoken to, says Skahal is an easy skip because he doesn't bring anything to the table that Celir already does not offer. So I feel the same way. He is nothing special, and I personally feel like it's an easy skip. So if it's in fact one huge banner, it kind of sucks for most players because if they do actually not want him, then it's a possibility they may end up getting him anyways. Now let's move on to Howlet. Howlet. Turns out it's a he. I thought it was a she for some reason. I guess some of the videos I watched, maybe people are saying she, but I don't know. Maybe I was, somewhere along the line, I was injected with that idea. But here's how it works. Howlet is a wind rune knight. Very similar to the Halloween Ryu, obviously, because of the main job rune knight. My experience so far with rune knight is that they're very powerful, they deal a lot of damage, magical damage, and they can take some hits. Maybe not as tanky as quote-unquote as a bruiser, but they are tanky enough to take a couple of licks in arena. And of course in PvE content, they're going to be very exceptionally great. Now, here's how it's going to work. Little Leela was injected into the lineup roughly a couple of weeks ago, but we were never expecting Little Leela. According to the JP timeline, she didn't get introduced till actually recently. Therefore, we are roughly 3 months behind JP server, so we technically speaking should have seen Leela 3 months down the road until 2021. But we got her, and we got Ryu. So here's how it's going to perhaps work for some players. A lot of folks feel that Howlet is technically speaking a direct hard counter, as you will, to Kitufe, which is running amok all over the place on defense in terms of guild wars and arena. I got Little Leela because I wanted to find a unit that could potentially have an easier time defeating Kitufes and maybe Ketones. Turns out she is really good against those units. In fact, in my arenas, I actively seek out Earth units to take them down. So, a lot of people feel though Little Leela isn't quote-unquote a direct hard counter to Keto Fate. So if we're going to take that rationale, then it's fair to say getting Howlett is a safe bet because he is just very strong in this game. Little Leela is perhaps more classified as a super healer type, whereas Howlett is classified more or less offensive, in your face, destroy you, and let's go ahead and call it a match type of unit. Personally, I would highly suggest Howlett if you do not have Little Leela, because if you're having trouble dealing with Keto Phase, Howlett is going to be your unit. So, I also feel like Howlett does have... First off, let's go ahead and look at something real quick. So Howlett has Red Mage and White Mage. One of the issues that Howlett may not have is the fact that perhaps he will not have a skill that does guaranteed hit. And if that is the case, then he would need a lot of accuracy. Okay, I did not do any deep dives into if there are any guaranteed hits for him. So that is something that's going to be an asterisk on this unit. Now, if he does have a guaranteed hit, then yes, this unit is going to be insane. Okay, period, insane. So would I recommend Skahal so far? Absolutely not. Would I recommend Howlett? Double thumbs up for Howlett. Now in terms of Shell, she's actually, I'm pretty sure this is a she, so I'm going to say is, you know what, forget it. I don't care if it's a he or she. I'm going to go ahead and say Shell, okay? Shell is going to be a very good unit. The reason I figured out finally why Gilgamesh is so good is because he is decently tanky, especially given the fact that he just got a recent boost on a second master skill, which allows him to be solely a type of unit that gives another unit an extra turn by using Quicken. And on top of it, he can actually do decent damage. So Shell fills that role from the MR rarity perspective. She can just cast Quicken over and over on a tougher unit that is generally slow, but by giving them an extra turn, they can actually potentially change the tide of battle. However, this unit is quite squishy. So there you go, pretty much in a nutshell there. So would I recommend this unit? I don't think I will push this unit all the way to the top on your priority list, but I feel like this unit is actually worthy of building, especially for PvE content. So that said, I think it's kind of a neutral at this point, because most of us don't need to be building too many units at this point, right? The other topic of conversation would be that many players are taking the switch, or as you will, at the fork of the road, and they're making the decision and concentrating more on cards, like the vision cards. Therefore, they're not most likely thinking about too many units they want to build. So, but if you are continually building units, Shell is a major consideration if you do not want to go down the Gilgamesh route, or any other time mage for that matter. Mariya is the last one I want to save and talk about. I'm pretty sure this one's a she. So this one is a Spellblade main job, light element of MR quality. Now, there aren't many light units that can do a lot of damage, but this unit can do tons of damage, and she's very fast, and she's a Spellblade. You can actually use Spellblades as tanks, such as Whisper, right, and such as Ramza. So in a nutshell, she is sort of flexible as well in that sense, but if you use her as a DPS unit, she's actually very viable. So my opinion on her is a double thumbs up if you're needing a light attacking unit. Now also, we have that card, Red Chocobo, which I actually maxed out because it gives light, why I keep saying lightning? Light attack up and magic attack up. So there you go. It's a great card to pair with her if you have that card. Or you can simply give her lots of magic attack power. Now, that being said, I think she's going to be one of those units that you're eventually going to get over time anyways, much like Shell, because they're MR quality. Chances are you're probably going to get her right off the bat. So if you're not going anything on this banner at all, I would just say don't worry about them at all for now and get them later, because they're all going to be in the database and eventually they're going to land in your lap. For those of you who are contemplating even just a little bit, I highly recommend getting Howlett and chances are you're probably going to get Shell and Mariya along the way. At that point, you can actually use the bingo board, get the 120 shards, and get Howlett built as fast as possible. But if you already have little Leela, maybe, just maybe, you can just wait a bit to get Howlett later down the road. Even though that 120 shards is tempting, you know, it's not really worth spending all of your Visiors if you're planning on other future units. Personally, I'm planning on getting Kane and Cecil maybe as well, simply because if I don't necessarily need Cecil to get the Kane Spear, I won't really get him either. Because even though he's a light bruiser type, there are already tons of light bruiser types that I already own. So personally, Cecil is a must own for me because right now we don't have any stabbing or spear users for the dark element, and plus he just looks ultra cool. So my guess is, because of the fact that they're giving us all 4 units at the same time, they're trying to keep and stick with the timeline in which they originated on the JP server, meaning we'll probably and should be getting Final Fantasy IV collaborations much sooner than we're hoping for. My guess is maybe end of this month around Thanksgiving time. It makes a perfect time, right? So I'm going to be passing on this entire banner, and I will eventually want to get a Howlett, but I think my little Leela is doing her job and doing enough for me that perhaps currently I don't need to think too much about having a win unit to counter Keto Fate. I really want to save for Kane, and I'm going to stick with my game plan. And hope you guys find this video informative enough that maybe it will finally help you make your decision. But like I said before, my disclaimer is I never want to make decisions for people. I just want to give people to start thinking about reasons why, or maybe why they should not get these units. But ultimately, it boils down to your individual needs. Now, that's all the time I have for this video. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for the continued support. But I think we should end it off by doing a little bit of summons, because why not, right? What am I saving these tickets for? I have 35. Well, let's go ahead and spend 10 to kind of finish off this video. Here we go. So I'm very close to getting Lorenzo to LB4. And I'm slowly working on his proficiency for weapons. By the way, that's a very tedious grind as well. And then of course the resonances are always tedious grinds for the Espers. Looks like I have 3 chances to get Lorenzo. Here we go. Lorenzo? Nope, not yet. Lorenzo? Nope, Nina. Fina. Lorenzo? Lorenzo, come. Oh, Raviz. So, Raviz is actually a good tank for lightning, and I don't think we have too many of those. So, that's definitely a unit I'm really contemplating on building as well. So, alright, that is finally all the time I have for this video. I hope you guys have a great day. And if you are going to summon, I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow's units. And remember, time is your most valuable resource, so spend it wisely. And as always, take care of yourself and all your loved ones. Nashtaters out of here. Peace out.